Is it him? Hi, officer. Yes, sir. This is my fiance.
You guys want to come back here?
I am. I'm recording just because I want to make sure that Deputy Chief gets it. And she does have a learning impairment disability. I expressed this to Deputy Chief Kozorowski because she was attacked 3 years ago.
Would you rather just be you and me?
No, because she's the one that has to make the statement. I brought the evidence because she's comfortable with me.
Oh, okay.
But
cool.
I want to make sure she's comfortable because
Oh, I
you guys are all
understand.
muscular and stuff.
You think so?
Well, the guy who used to be physical before I met her,
Oh, okay.
she gets scared to even come to the police because of
Oh.
you guys are muscular.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
So she waited for me to come all the way
Okay.
to Canada.
Okay. Oh, wow.
They're your friends.
Just so you know, the room is being audio and video
Sure.
recorded. Okay.
Sure.
You want me to close the door?
No, I brought the evidence.
Who's that? Who's that?
This is the anxiety dog, the emotional support dog for her.
What's the name of the dog?
Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster.
The way she acts with me, it's a
Has a
monster.
last name also, huh? Okay, very nice. What's going on today?
Did you get any background on it from the?
Very brief.
Okay, so
Something about a scam.
I'm a medical scholar. I'm Canadian. Deputy Chief asked me last time. I was agitated because I've been trying to get this relayed for 3 years. I have extremely high functioning Asperger's.
Okay.
So my IQ is very high. I brought him the actual documents to show him. I also do diligence and I'm an informant. So I have the documentation to show all this. Unfortunately, I'm not an attorney and I don't understand scams because I'm not versed in them the way you guys are versed in them because I don't get exposed to them as much. Here's my medical school documentation to show that I'm not making up stories.
Okay.
Because this is what MHC.
Did someone question?
Oh
your-
yeah, well at first because I was being defaced and slandered by these people.
Who's
And
these people?
Elm Creek Apartments is owned by a corporation called Air Communities, INCO.
Okay.
This is my resuming. I'm resuming medical school, MHC office, letter of good standing. So you can see I had a 3.9 GPA, or 3.8 GPA.
Okay.
I was very advanced. My sister was diagnosed with a terminal condition. I'm the only boy in Canada.
Mm.
I had signed a lease in 2019. It was 6 months long, and I gave this property manager named Jessica McCormick a notice of vacancy 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
And they're aware that I don't live in the country. Now, you notice my notes because I didn't know I was being criminally abused until the attorneys
By this.
by all of them. Because they were taking advantage, so she has a low functioning disability.
Okay.
I'm high functioning.
And PTSD.
Okay.
And I had to be in Canada, and the border was closed between countries, and she had to stay with her mom the whole time. And she lives with her mother in Des Plaines, Illinois.
Very good.
So she's Polish descent, Eastern European. Tell everyone.
I live in Des Plaines.
With mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
On Elmhurst and Dempster with my mom.
Very
and
nice.
I work at Jewel in Arlington Heights.
With the special, they have the forces to help people.
Yeah.
So she's one of them.
Awesome.
And I had to come here to try to help her because she doesn't even know how to retain an attorney. She doesn't even know how to set up her state insurance. I had to help her with all
Okay.
that.
Okay. Well, good. Seems like you have.
I love
good
her.
help here. Yeah.
So I'm also vulnerable. My mom and my attorneys, because I was doing diligence, they're the ones, I have the list of all their names if you need to contact them. As I was learning more and more about law, and they taught me about theft through deception, perjury, misappropriation of government funds to steal government money or an attempt to. All of these things, these people at that building, I've never seen them or met them. But they know I have a condition because I told Jessica McCormick that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Samuel Baker is an attorney who was the founder of Baker McKenzie in Toronto. It's the largest law firm it's actually the third largest in the world.
Oh, okay.
In the
Big
world.
time.
But he's older and he's a family friend with my dad, and I can get him on the phone with you if you need to speak to him. He taught me to protect myself because people were taking me for granted, just like they take her for granted, to read word for word anything you signed. So this lady McCormick and our staff had omitted multiple clauses, which I actually highlighted and provided from their expired contract. One called a surrender clause that says if any time the people who live there have left the state or the building and have expressed so, there's no contract. I gave her a notice in the beginning of 2019, but they continued to
Oh, the
steal
vacancy
money.
part. Yeah.
They continued to steal my money, sir, all the way up until the end of that term. And then,
The 6 months?
yeah, I left,
When was the notice given?
I mean, I pulled it up exact. I have the actual documentation with the
Even
photos.
roughly right now, was it well before the 6
A
months?
month. As soon as I signed the lease, I left a month later
Oh, okay.
because my mom needed me.
Okay, continue, I'm sorry.
So I actually have all the evidence, and it's all. I even put it up on YouTube because I have problems. Just like she reacts, gets scared with strong men.
Don't get scared.
My Asperger, when people act strong, because you guys deal with a lot of types of people regularly, so you have to be on guard. I understand that.
Sure.
When someone comes on to me strong, my mimic neuron does the same.
Mm.
So I can come back on like strong too. So I said to myself, let's get composed, make my notes organized,
Mhm.
and try to like relay the information as best as I can.
Mhm.
So after learning from the attorneys, which I'll give you all of their contact details, sir, I put up on YouTube a due diligence investigation package when I saw the crimes that we were facing.
Okay.
So on YouTube, there's a 52-page, the amount of evidence I collected is 52 pages long. And their lawyer, who was helping Jessica McCormick and all of them,
Creek's lawyer.
as soon as I exposed the crime and I called the state attorney,
Mhm.
they went silent.
Which state's attorney?
I called Mr. Kenneth, and I called the DuPage.
Okay.
So this is me.
And you said this has been going on for 3 years.
Yeah.
When did you contact them?
So I contacted the FBI from Toronto, Canada, because Mrs. McCormick and her staff were sending me messages in Canada, impersonating me, saying, per your request, as you requested, pretending I lived on premises.
Mm.
And they were setting up intercoms. I never set up an intercom. I never set up any services. I left before even getting a mailbox.
Sure.
So these people, another clause, so the evidence package is long. It's on YouTube. So this is my notice to Mrs. McCormick, telling her vacant. This is when the crimes commenced.
So basically, in a nutshell,
She ended up luring her. They sent it to me, so she knew it was vacant from the beginning. They were aware, but they started to deceive me because they didn't do their job, and they continued to steal my money, sir. Then for 3 years, they lied to me, saying that in Illinois, if you ever leave stuff behind in an apartment, you're still a tenant. That's just how it is. And I was gullible, and I actually was like, really? I'm stuck out of the country. I don't even live in your building.
okay.
So they tried to send me something called a memorandum against eviction
Mhm.
that they wanted me to sign, saying I attest that I live in her building so she could steal government tax money for her profits
Mhm.
using my identity. And they even offered, I even have the audio recording in that same evidence thing, there's the audio recording of them doing it,
Mhm.
and they acknowledge that they know that there's no resident in that audio recording.
So you guys, in what is it now, 2019? You guys moved in at some point in the year.
Just me. She was helping me. We had just started bringing stuff in. They were all still in boxes.
Okay.
Like she had clothing and my stuff, but no one lived there at all. She left straight to. We're not married yet,
Okay.
so we never. Like I've been here now trying to get this information across because I've been defrauded for $40,000 plus damages to my mom and dad, my credit, and her.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to stay with her because we're not married. So she's still in Des Plaines and I'm living in
Is that
Rosemont.
mom's rule?
Yeah, it's our
That's
rule.
how-
We're
that's how we do it.
we're missionaries,
I
so we're very
understand.
old-fashioned.
So you want to do things the right way.
I
That's
asked
all
her
good.
dad and her mom for hand in marriage. I asked her priest. I even have her. The St. Hyacinth Church takes a year to book the wedding.
Okay. Well,
So-
congratulations.
Thank you.
For getting engaged.
But I've been sidetracked because
Love this.
this lady, McCormick, so it's Jessica McCormick, Laura works with her, Rich was a service guy who, after they failed to get me to falsify the memorandum, because I found out that was called misappropriation of government funds fraud, to steal from the USA. It's in the recording here.
Mhm.
This gentleman, who I have his information named Rich, who I also posted in this whole evidence package. It's a long video, 2 minutes of me actually reading it verbatim from Illinois state law, and with what they did in their excerpts. These people, a gentleman by the name of Rich, starts sending me messages saying that the power got shut off and this and that, and I haven't. They pretend that I live there, but they know I don't. And they lied to Deputy Chief Kowzerowski because what they did is they committed tampering. A clause in the contract, which I could show. Jessica McCormick, using my identity, turned off the power in her own building to create damages to her property. And I have the evidence here, sir. I just want to pull it up. It's in the drive. So it took me a long time to piece it together. And see, I do due diligence. These are all the different people I've been reporting theft and frauds for, because I have Asperger.
Oh.
So I detect the permutations because I hyper focus on stuff. So I made for her, and to try to help, I even came and spoke to, my mom came and her mother came, Officer Cañeres, I think they call him Art here. My mom came from Canada to show that this lady she'd given her multiple notice, no resident, no vacancy. And her mother came too, because she was afraid and she needed her mom. This is the expired lease that we have, sir. And I highlighted all the parts, if may I? I'm not going to go over the whole thing. This is the term length, sir. This is the term length. This is Jessica McCormick. Now, the clauses that she omitted, sir, one of them is here. So I gave her notice of termination, and I showed you the vacancy notice. I did. Instead of, they lied to me, and it wasn't until Attorney Baker and the other ones helped me learn how to read these things, because it's huge. No one has time for that.
Seems like a lot,
So I looked at it. So McCormick and staff were sending me messages claiming I was causing damages, and Caroline was causing damage because they were trying to steal money, and there was no one living in this building.
but essentially you weren't even there a month.
No.
you're saying. Okay.
But they continued using it because they set up an intercom service and set up services and utilities using my identity. Next thing you know, this was another clause that they omitted. So the landlord has the right to enter and exit a property in case of any types of emergencies or whatever. When they tried to get me to falsify the government memorandum,
That they sent to you.
they sent the email to Canada
Right.
so they could take from U.S. funds.
Right.
It said inside, when I read the clauses on it, it said that they could create an eviction for a health concern or risk. So this property manager elected to turn off power settings so she could create damages to her property, hoping she would be able to take this to a judge and say, look at the health risk this person made, and file a fake eviction using my identity, pretending to evict me. And even though I don't live in your country. The evidence for the tampering, sir. So here, entry by landlord. This part here is a clause that they were omitting. So abandonment occurs if you don't make a payment, or as soon as you give them notice, it shall occur.
10 consecutive days. I'll run his like for 10 or more days.
The ledger, which they tried to when they lured her for the last day there, I'll get to this, and then McCormick used my identity to install a fridge and created an entry, a tamper onto the ledger. You'll see there's no payments and all the notices they know no one's there. And then they added a ledger to it, and they recorded her when they brought her there over the last few days. And then they ran to the judge, pretended they were evicting a criminal disruptive tenant when I didn't even live in the country or even receive a notice because I don't live here. Next thing you know, the one that McCormick was also omitting, sir, was, so they have a duty to mitigate, to take, when I give her notice, they have it, that's my mom worried. So they're all worried. So here's another clause that she had been omitting to apply, the surrender clause. Surrender, or so basically surrendering the whole agreement to them. I've never rented before. My parents take care of me because of my condition. Right? Apartment homes shall, all residents who sign the lease live elsewhere. So this lady knows I'm in Canada, and she's known for 6 months, or since 2019. but she by choice elected to keep staking my money with her staff and sending me messages saying per your request, and pretend she lied to Deputy Chief Kozarowski, saying that, oh, she was there the whole time. So I'm lucky because in Canada, the fact that this kept happening, the police there told me this is criminal harassment, they're abusing you, and so that an attorney I retained who tried to convey the message to Deputy Chief Kozarowski.
From Canada?
Here.
Okay.
I retained an attorney to help me, and he drafted a letter agreement, which I have, saying that this is criminal felonies because she's literally harassing and defrauding you, and you're not even a resident of Illinois. I don't have a home here, right? And so that was the surrender clause that she was omitting. Now here's the tampering, sir. It took me a long time to pull this all up. So if you look at under the utilities section, sir, the utilities section, so she was trying to make me look like I'm getting evicted. The utilities section states, let me just pull it up. This is the part where the crime is seen, that it's criminal tampering by her. Landlord. Utilities. It's in the video section. It shows that there is no way, even if there was a resident present, because of the way that they're set up, their corporation is set up, it shows that in event, even if a person didn't make a payment for utility power, there's no way for the power to be turned off because the management company pays for it.
Automatic.
And then adds a $50 penalty to the resident. The only way that a person could change it is if they did it deliberately, and McCormick is the only one who has been using and setting up my services using my identity. So here, and it shows here, if I could just find it, the clause, because it took a lot of work to do this.
Yeah, it seems like you got your...
I even have the recording because I found out in Illinois, you can record if you're helping law enforcement and providing, if you're a victim of a crime, you can audio record. So I brought some evidence I was hoping to show Deputy Chief, because me and him, when we were here, we were I was upset. You know, I'm like, what more do you need? Like, my fiance's been attacked, I've been attacked, what do you need from me? And then, the clause for utilities,
How old is Cookie Monster?
What is she? 1, maybe 2?
Where'd you get her?
Petland. But they closed it down, so now there's no more, they don't do any more pets.
Oh, really?
I mean, they still have the store, but it's only just like a
Oh.
store.
and I want you to let him know what they did to you. Because I was on video, but I couldn't get here. And I tried calling the station, I talked to Commander Rifkin, but he was like, we're busy, I couldn't send someone. And then she basically went into shutdown mode and stayed with her mom. This is the clause that shows the deliberate damage that can only be done by the property manager. The utilities, nothing can change unless a resident was assigned back. This lady somehow managed to turn off and change powers to a property that has no tenancy by omitting all of the clauses and deceiving me, deceiving the police. And there's that $50 thing I was mentioning. There's no way for power to be turned off, like the claim that they made.
Okay, so your main complaint here is that,
They stole $50,000.
well, how it started is that you signed a contract to live at Elm Creek, but then you sent a letter of vacancy within the month.
And they used my identity for years.
And they still charged you the remaining 5 months.
They stole that money from me, which is, they shouldn't have been done. My main complaint with them is that they used my identity to continue impersonating and setting up services and utilities, lied to a judge, pretending that they were evicting a tenant, when they are aware that I don't have a tenancy or a contract.
And they're saying that you were living there.
So that's what they did. So they were sending me a paper trail. I found out what a paper trail was too, because I was naive. They were sending me in Canada, and they know that my condition makes me